Hello, my loves. I'm here, here in the Everglades National Park. See that? And the reason why I'm here is because we're learning about biomes and ecosystems. Let's go to our Studies Weekly for this week. And our first article is about ecosystems and biomes. So let's watch this intro video. If you already watched the video, that's okay. We can watch it again. And you really should watch all of these intro videos every week.
Ecosystems, such as a tide pool, consist of plants and animals specific to that environment. In a forest, a rotting tree stump can house plants and animals that are very different than in a tide pool. Both the tide pool and the tree stump are ecosystems. But large areas, sometimes whole countries, that share similar climates, plants, and wildlife are called biomes. Ecosystems are usually small, like the tide pool, and biomes are usually large, like the ocean. The world is made up of biomes. Rainforest biomes are home to thousands of plants and animals. Some rainforests are hot and humid, while others are cool and wet. Tundra biomes are found around the North Pole. Tundra plants are small, and tundra animals have thick fur, and many hibernate during the winter. Taiga biomes have short summers and long, cold winters. There are not many plants found in this biome, and most animals hibernate or go south for the winter. Temperate biomes can be identified by their 4 distinct seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. The many plants and animals that live in this biome can adapt to changing weather. Grasslands are what the name suggests. They are very open, grassy spaces with trees mainly found along riverbanks. Grazing animals can be found on grasslands. Desert biomes are hot and dry, although nights can be cold. The plants and animals that live here must be able to adapt to extremes in temperature and live with minimal water. Freshwater biomes are bodies of fresh water, like streams, rivers, ponds, lakes, wetlands, and swamps. The marine biome is the largest and includes all the world's oceans and their shorelines. Plants and animals must be able to live in wet, salty conditions. From dry deserts to wet oceans, our Earth has a place that is perfect for every living thing on it.
All right. There we go. So we learned in this video the difference between ecosystems and biomes. A biome is a huge type of place where animals and plants live, and an ecosystem is quite small in comparison. So a biome is kind of like a general description. Remember when we were talking in our math lessons, we're talking about like quadrilaterals, and then there's a very specific quadrilateral, like the parallelograms, right? It's a sub, do you remember what that word was? A sub category. It's a subcategory. So an ecosystem is like a subcategory of a biome. A biome would be like marine biome. So that means ocean water. But then we've got an ecosystem in different oceans and in different areas of the oceans. Another biome would be freshwater. But then you have an ecosystem that might be in a lake or even in a pond in your backyard. That has its own ecosystem. So that's kind of cool. And I wanted to share with you the ecosystems that we have here in Florida. So an ecosystem is a community of plants and animals that live together. South Florida is home to many different ecosystems, including coral reefs, dunes, marshes, swamps, hardwood hammocks, mangroves, pinelands, and scrubs. So a lot of these we kind of already know about and we see them on TV. Coral reefs, you can see amazing videos about coral reefs. Dunes are really important. We see dunes over by our beaches and by our oceans. And the dunes are not actually the sand that, like, you know, you're walking on the sand or you're making a sandcastle by the water. The dunes are a bit further back and they tend to be drier, and they have some like little scrub brush, like some small like bushes and plants and things. And those plants are really important because they actually hold the sand. If we didn't have those plants, the sand would be gone and it would just be kind of evenly spread out everywhere. Here's the problem with that. These sand dunes are so important for animals, turtles, tortoises. They lay their eggs in those sand dunes. So if we didn't have those plants, we wouldn't have sand dunes, and then we would lose all of our tortoises and turtles. So we need to make sure that we are keeping those clean, we're keeping them healthy. We also have freshwater marshes. So we call them, those are our wetlands, and there's a lot of grass, and we call the Everglades the river of grass. And they don't usually have a lot of trees or shrubs. So that freshwater marsh is just kind of a grassland with water. We've got lots of fish and alligators and things like that. We have hardwood hammocks, a hammock, not the hammock that you lay in to relax. It's like a clump, like a stand of trees. We've got mangroves near the water, but you know what we also have? We have pine lands, and this is really interesting. It's a community of pine trees. Now think about that. We've got Pine Island. We have Pembroke Pines, Pines Boulevard. So all of these are actually named after these trees, these pine lands. And this is my favorite area, the scrubs. I like the scrubs. The scrubs are really interesting because they're made of like short plants, and they're kind of, they're not very full. They're kind of like scraggly looking, some of them. But they're very important because unlike a big tall tree that has just the trunk, there's not really anywhere for animals to hide. But in the scrub, there's a lot of places for these small animals to hide and to keep safe from those predators. And certain animals like gopher tortoises, lizards, insects, spiders, all of those kinds of animals are found there. Okay? What I need for you to do is continue with this Studies Weekly Week 8, and make sure that after you read the article, and then stop, because look, I see something that I need to study. We're not going to pass by these pictures. We're not going to pass by any charts or tables. Look at them. And let me move my picture because I'm covering information. There we go. Let's see what's going on here. This says annual precipitation, and we know precipitation means, you know, the water coming from the sky, whether it's rain or snow or sleet or hail. We learned all about that. So let's see, we've got annual precipitation, and down here, average temperature. So the average temperature, 30 degrees. Now this is not 30 degrees like we say 30 degrees, it's in Celsius. So you'll have to think, remember this is the scientific way. We don't usually use Fahrenheit, we use it in America, but scientists tend to prefer the centigrade temperature measurements. So we've got 30 degrees, 20, 10, 0, and then 10 below. Now, Celsius 0, that is the freezing temperature of water. Water freezes at 0. For us, it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So this spot right here is 32. And then this is 10 below. So it's going to be even colder than freezing. So take a look. So now that we have this spot that we know, this is when water freezes. That's how cold it is. Look at the annual precipitation. So let's go and see where the precipitation is here. It's a little bit more than 200 centimeters. So when we're at freezing temperature, we have about 200 centimeters. When it gets colder, below freezing, now we're at a little bit more than 100. So the precipitation went down, right? So the colder it is, the less precipitation. And we know that because we studied precipitation, and we know that warm weather means lots of water is being evaporated and going up to condense, and then it precipitates down. So it has to evaporate first before it can come down. So that tells us that warmer weather means more precipitation. And that's why we have our rainy season here in the summertime. So let's see about that. If here is 0 degrees freezing, that means as we go to the left, it's getting warmer, warmer, and warmer. And look here, this is the warmest temperature. And we go all the way up, and it says it's hot over here. 30 degrees is hot, where 10 below is cold. And as we go up, 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 look where else we're traveling. We're going from dry up to wet. So the warmest temperature, boom, has the highest amount of precipitation. So we're at 500 here, right? Because this is 300, 400, that makes this 350. So this would be 450, this would be 500. So 500 centimeters when it's really, really hot. And where is it really hot? Where does it have a lot of precipitation? In the tropical, seasonal, and the rainforest. We've got a lot, that's why it's called the rainforest. There's a lot of rain there. And where is it the driest? In the tundra. It's the driest in the tundra. And the video said that during the day, it could get hot in the deserts, but then it gets freezing cold at night. And the tundra is known for being very, very cold. All right, so now that we have stopped and we've inspected that, we're going to come down here and answer those questions. And we have the green, we've got that orangey yellow, and then the red. And we've got 1, 2, and 3. They're all worth 10 points, but they're telling us that the 1 is kind of simple, the 2 is a little bit more challenging, and then the 3 is a thinker. You got to really think about it. So number 1, let's see.
Which biomes are the largest?
Which
Deciduous
biomes
forests,
are the
tropical,
largest?
seasonal and rainforests, freshwater biomes, ocean biomes.
I don't know the answer. You know why I don't know the answer? Because I didn't read the article. I have to make sure that I read this article. Which biomes are the biggest? Oh, wait, I remember from the video. It said ocean biomes. Am I right? Oh, I remembered it. Awesome. All right. Oh, this one, according to the graph. Good thing we studied it. Which biomes have the largest range in amount of annual precipitation? Which biomes have the largest range in amount of annual precipitation? We've got deserts, temperate rainforests, savannas and grasslands, tropical and seasonal and rainforests. So when they say which has the largest range, a range means like a difference, like from beginning to end or from small to big. It's a range. So we're not necessarily looking at which one has the most. We're looking at which one has the biggest range, which one goes from one extreme to the other. Well, let's see. I see down here the desert is really hot at 30 degrees, and then the desert goes all the way down to 0. That's a big range. Does anything else go from freezing to sweltering? Let's see, this stays warm, this is in the middle, this is kind of to the end. This one's kind of big. Savanna and grassland, we've got some warm, and we go down to cold. I think desert might be the answer. That has the biggest range. Let's see if I'm right. Incorrect. What did I get wrong? Which has the largest range? Do you know what I just did? I wasn't reading carefully. Look what it says. It says the largest range in the amount of annual precipitation. I wasn't looking at precipitation. You know what I was looking? I was looking at temperature. I was looking at that X coordinate. I need to look at the Y coordinate because the clue says annual precipitation. We're looking for the largest range. So I'm talking about a range like this. It's a range like this. I should have read more carefully. Did you catch my mistake? Okay, so now we're looking for the range in precipitation, which means we're looking for something that goes the tallest from one extreme to the other. Well, let's see. Well, that's why desert's not the right answer, because look, the desert always has a small amount of precipitation. Definitely not desert. So which of these, Which of these environments have the biggest range? What do you think? It is the, yes. I only got 5 points. I could have gotten 10 if I had read carefully. And that wasn't even the thinker. Here's the thinker. Based on the graphs, which biomes have a very small amount of precipitation, but the largest range of temperatures throughout the year? Can you believe I know this answer because I made my mistake in the last question? Well, there's your evidence right there why mistakes are helpful, because I can get all 10 points because I made that mistake. Look at the question. Which biomes have a very small amount of precipitation? That's that y coordinate up and down. But the largest range, remember the range is the expanse, like that long piece of temperatures. Do you know what it is? Which one has the smallest range of precipitation, but the largest range of temperature? Now I get to click on deserts and get it right. I got my 10 points. Awesome. So at the end of every article, answer your questions. So when I look at your studies weekly, it should show me that you have 24 questions. Now I know I said 27, and I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and you see that I put it on the web page for this morning. You know what I did is I assumed every article had 3, and I didn't double check, and I double checked, and one of the articles does not have 3 questions. But you know what? That's okay because we're adaptable. So you are now going to answer 24 questions just like this, and you still need to do those 3 extra questions. And we find them right here in the bonus sources. Any 3 questions you want, any bonus source you want to do, whatever interests you. So let's see. What interests me? I think I might have to move myself over here. And let's get our page loaded. Come on, there we go. Well, here's the biomes intro. We already watched that. And systems of life. So you can watch a video. Are there questions at this video? Some of them don't have questions. Here's the boreal grassland. Let's click on that. That tells me that there's a picture, and I'm going to study that picture, and I can answer these bonus questions. Let's see. Boreal, also called taiga, ecosystems are found in subarctic climates. So not the Arctic, but like well, if you're talking about the southern hemisphere, it's right above it, or the northern hemisphere, it's right below it. So it means it's just further towards the equator and not so much towards those poles. So subarctic, like a submarine, means below. In North America, this is mostly in Canada and Alaska. So think about what you know about Canada and Alaska. It's cold. And typically, a boreal ecosystem is classified as a forest consisting mostly of coniferous trees. We know that the conifers, they don't make flowers, they make cones. That's why they're called conifers, such as pines and spruces. Occasionally, in these ecosystems, a grassland can occur. So this looks like a grassland because I don't see pine trees. But over here, you see the dense trees. Dense means there's a lot of them packed in there, a lot of trees over there. But this is one of those occasional grasslands. So what type of biome is this? Ah, look, is it a grassland? Yes. So I looked at this picture and I said, well, it's boreal. They said occasionally a grassland can occur. This looks like grass to me. That's why I picked grassland. Which of the following best describes this biome? cold, short growing season, little vegetation, or not too cold, flat with lots of grass? Well, I mean, it is going to be a little bit cold because I know Canada and Alaska is kind of cold. So maybe it's cold, short growing season, and little vegetation. I see a lot of vegetation. No, I see a lot of vegetation, not a little. Look at all this. Look at all this grass. Look at all those trees on the other side of the river. I think that's not the right answer. Not too cold. So when they say not too cold, to me, that's very cold. Like, I love Florida. If we're at 40 degrees, you know. But if you go up to the North Pole, to the South Pole, and we're talking about those Arctic temperatures, now that's cold. But when you get further away to those subarctic, it gets to warm up a little bit. So, they would say it's not too cold. And interestingly enough, it says over here, short growing season. One of my favorite things to do is to look up the giant vegetables that people grow in Alaska. I mean, like giant, like there's a carrot, probably the size of Emiliano. Okay, I mean, they're huge, they're amazing, because in certain areas they'll have 12, 12, no, we have 12 months in a year. They'll have 6 months of sunlight and then 6 months of nighttime. So in those 6 months of sunlight, and I mean day and night, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning and it's as bright as day. So all of that sunlight, feeds the plants, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's really neat. So if you're interested in that, I'm super interested in those kinds of things. Grab your computer, go to Google, and kind of search and find out what areas of the world have some of those biggest vegetables that are growing. So I'm going to say it's flat with lots of grass because my eyes tell me that. Did I get it right? Correct. Woo! All right, I've got 110 Rev points. I've got one more coming. What do you think boreal means? From the windy north, hot and dry. From the windy south, cold and dry. I know a word that has that boreal, aurora borealis, right? You've heard of that, where it's like the northern lights? Kind of sounds similar. So, well, it's going to be the north, right? Because we're talking about Canada and Alaska here. So I'm thinking north. So it could be this one. It's definitely not hot and dry. I mean, come on. Is it cold and dry? Well, it's not the windy south. It's either, from the windy north or cold and dry. Cold and dry. This is a tough one. Does that look cold and dry? I mean, this picture does not look cold and dry. Not at all. I don't know. I might have to guess. Maybe that's why this is the tough one. I'm going to go for this one. And because I don't think it's dry, I mean, I could be wrong, because they're not really asking what exactly is in the picture. They're like, what do you think boreal means? But the good news is if I get it wrong, that's okay, because then I can just keep, answering until I get it right. And when we make mistakes, when we get wrong answers, we can learn from that, and then it's going to stick even better. So let's see. Am I going to get it? I did. And you know what I was thinking? I was thinking windy north, and I'm thinking that aurora borealis, those are those northern lights, and they kind of look like they're waving, that's why I was thinking windy north. I'm glad I got that right. All right, so good news. I just finished my 3 bonus questions, but I don't have to stop there. I can go on to the tropical forest, and I can keep answering those questions and learn more and more and more and more things about biomes and about ecosystems. So that's what I want you to do. Please don't stop just because, okay, I have to do 3 bonus, I'm going to stop at 3 bonus. When the more that you do, you're actually growing your mind, and you're learning for yourself. You're not learning for a grade. You should never learn for a grade. Don't do this for me. Don't do it for mom and dad. Do it for you. because it's going to wake you up and it's going to get you excited about the world. This is really cool stuff. There's nothing boring about this, because if you like plants, you got plants. If you like animals, animals. If you're interested in people and how they live, well, here you go. You have to adapt to these environments and live in different ways. So if you are in Alaska, you're going to be living a lot different than you would be in Florida, right? So whatever you're interested in, if you're interested in technology, here you go, technology. There's a lot of stuff that you can research and you can learn about, ways to help the environment using technology, ways to study using technology, building things, building, I don't know, building a some kind of like really cool drone that can go into places where humans can't, like really dense areas that we can't get into. Maybe if you built not even a drone, like what if it was like a mouse with a camera, and then it gets like into those little places, and maybe you can actually see other animals. I'm getting like really excited about this. So many things that you can learn and explore. Okay, I want to go so you can get going with your learning. I love you, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye.